All right, everybody, welcome back to the Level Up Podcast, where you learn how to go from agent to entrepreneur. We have a phenomenal episode for you today. We have Ricky Carruth, and we're talking about how to go relationship heavy, how to really build a 21st century business based around relationships that are enabled by technology, but not driven and certainly not hampered by it. Let's put it that way. So how to actually build real relationships with real clients that build a sustainable real estate business that can take you through any and all market conditions. So we've got a bunch of stuff to get into as always. Before we bring Ricky in, I will bring Greg Harrelson in first, traveling on the West Coast today. So you notice a little bit of a difference in your audio, Greg, because you are in somebody else's office. Where are you at?
I am in Marina del Rey, California today. And as a lot of you know, that the East Coast was hit with a fairly large hurricane, or at least it was very large when it was out in the ocean. By the time it hit just north of us, in Myrtle Beach, it had already died down a little bit. So Myrtle Beach did fairly well. Our friends up in North Carolina are kind of suffering. There's a lot of flooding and whatnot. And the kids were out of school all week. So I decided to get in a plane, bring my family to California, and hang out for the week while they were missing school anyway. So might as well, take the opportunity to see family and just hang out. So that's where I am.
No, that's awesome. And I just talked to Dobbin yesterday, and I understand you guys got a chance to hang out, maybe do a little bit of fishing, which is pretty awesome. So it sounds like you definitely made some lemonade out of the lemons.
Yeah, we evacuated, right? We evacuated from Myrtle Beach. So I chose a place to evacuate where I knew people and there was a lot of activity. So that's exactly what we did. I went to see Dobbin at Get You Wired, and we hung out on the river and fly fished and get in the river with the kids.
A little bit of work. I'm sure there was a little, fair to moderate business discussions. Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. So let's bring in Ricky. I'm super pumped to have you here. It was a little bit of a challenge getting everything coordinated, but we're finally together and able to record. So officially, welcome to Level Up Podcast.
Absolutely, guys. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, really, really, really excited. So catch us up a little bit for those that might not know who you are. Obviously, you're huge in the Gulf Coast region, so anybody that's down there in that area knows the name and knows who you are. May have done some transactions with you, but for those that might be outside of that area where you've been dominating for quite a few years, tell us a little bit about how you got there and what that journey was like.
Actually, I grew up right here on the Alabama Gulf Coast, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. It's really beautiful. A lot of people don't know about it. Right on the Florida line. It's white sand, palm trees, condos, $1 million houses. I mean, it's really a beautiful place, and it's kind of a little secret. Not a lot of people know about it. So, but it's growing really fast. Since the oil spill in 2010, that hit our area pretty hard, and the advertisements that BP did over the past, for probably 2 or 3 or 4 years after the spill, it brought so many people down here. We've had record-breaking years in tourism down here every year since. Every year has been a record-breaking year. We have last year, I believe it was 6.5 million people that visited us. Our population is 20,000 between Gulf Shores and Orange Beach combined. So it's a small little beach town, but it has huge tourism. So that's what I grew up. I grew up here, went to Gulf Shores Elementary, Foley High School, and really as growing up as a kid here, you don't appreciate the beach and stuff, because you kind of take it for granted. But when I grew up, I went to a couple different colleges, 4 colleges in 2 years. That's when I realized I'd actually grown up in the middle of paradise. But I realized college wasn't for me, and I'm really good at figuring out what's most efficient. And when I realized that the real estate career, the entry was 1 class as opposed to 10 years of school or 4 years of school or even a year of school, that was kind of my aha moment, where I wanted to just kind of go after that. But I was only 19 years old. So I didn't really, I was still, unsure what I wanted to do. So I remember being in the class, and the teacher said, after you pass this, you have a year to take the test, 90 days to find a job, yada, yada, yada. I said, this is moving way too fast for me. I don't even know if I want to do this. I was really scared, to tell you the truth. I thought you could get your license and that was it for the rest of your life. You could just jump in anytime you wanted. But so I came back after I passed the class, didn't know if I wanted to do it, went back to roofing houses with my dad, which is what I did growing up. And after about 2 days on the roof, I was like, I'm going to go take that test and try to do that real estate thing, get off this roof. So that's what I did. I got my real estate license in 2002. And, I thought that was it. I was off the roof. I tried real estate for 30 days, didn't sell anything, had to go back to roofing. Now I'm roofing and doing real estate, trying to figure it all out. Took me 8 months to make my first sale. That was in 2000, at the end of 2002. So then the market started exploding. And so I kind of got caught up in that and made a lot of money, made about $1 million by the time I'm 23. And then the market crashes and I lose everything. I go bankrupt. I'm sleeping on friends' couches. I go back to roofing houses. I'm working on an oil rig. That was 2005 to 8. I actually got back in real estate in 2008. Everybody looks at the crash as 2008 because that's the year the actual stock market crashed, but really real estate started crashing long before that. I didn't even know what a stock market was at the time. I wasn't even paying attention to that. But, had to go back to hard labor, had to reevaluate myself, figure myself out. That's when I had the most personal growth. I read over 100 books. I studied the market. I studied top producers, low producers. I really figured stuff out during that time. And that's when I realized that my problem was, and why I lost everything, was that I was so focused on the deal. I was just so focused on the deal. I was kind of just, my blinders were on. It was just about the deal, the deal, the deal. And then when it crashed and burned, I lost everything. I had nothing to fall back on because transactions went down so much. And I didn't understand the concept of, wait a minute, transactions are down, but there's still people out there that need help. They need, to buy. They want to buy because it's cheap, or they got to sell because they're in trouble. And that's the problem with a lot of agents. They're so scared about the market crashing on them and that everything's going to go away, when in reality, there's a lot of opportunity when the market crashes. Buyers that buy when the market's down, they're great buyers. They want to buy now while it's down before it goes up. And they're investors, and they buy multiple properties, and they sell the properties with you later. And then the sellers got to sell right now because they're in trouble. There's so much urgency during that time, and all the realtors get out of the business. It's really one of the greatest opportunities, to be in real estate when the market's down, if you understand this concept. I actually wrote a book about this. Everything I learned in the crash and these concepts I'm talking about, I put it in a book, my second book. But from there, I got back in 2008 and I said, okay, I'm going to be the best now. I figured it all out, And so I started selling. I was starting to sell some stuff. And then the BP oil spill hit. And that was a big down year for us. And I said, great, this is a chance for me to try out my new theories on the market, on a down market, and see if I'm right. And I made more money that year than I did the year before. And that was my big aha moment, that I was on the right track with this relationships over transactions, mentality. And that's when I went to Remax. That was when I was confident enough that I could make it under any market situation, that I could take on that desk fee. Okay. The desk fees would always scare me, but I always wanted the brand of Remax. But I wanted to be sure before I took on this monthly obligation that was really big. So when I made it through that year, I went to Remax, and really the rest is history. I just started grinding and working and pushing. 2014, I was the number one Remax in the state. I did 100 deals. I've done 100 deals a year since as a single agent. I was number one last year. Last year I did 129 deals. It was 42 million. It was a big year. This year I'm on track to do the same thing. And then January 2017, I started writing, speaking, coaching, and kind of wanted to branch out to help people. Because once I realized there was such a need and the failure rate is so high in the industry, I decided that I felt it was kind of my obligation to do my part to try to help reduce the failure rate. That's my mission, is to reduce the failure rate in real estate by just spreading the message that it doesn't matter what the market's doing. It could go up, down, sideways, left, right, interest rates, transactions, prices, supply, demand. It doesn't matter. It's about people. And if you understand that concept, you're going to win. If you put the work in, you have the right intentions, you're just going to win.
Love it. Well, there's a lot to dive into there. I want to zero in for a bit on the relationships versus transactions, and you can really pin it down to kind of a defined moment when it really dawned on you. I'm curious, Greg. We've talked a lot about relationships and
Hmm.
having that approach over a transactional approach. Can you pin it down to a moment? Kind of a moment in time when it really hit you that you were on the right track. That tendency or that preference to think that way, to think in terms of relationships, that you were on the right track, or was it more gradual?
Yeah, no, I can go back to, it's had to be 14 probably years ago, 15 years ago, somewhere in that range, when I went to the first business mastery that Tony Robbins and Chet Holmes ever put on. So it was the first one that they had, which was only maybe 200 people in the room, right? And Chet Holmes had already written that book, The Ultimate Sales Machine, and he was talking about databases. So it kind of kicked off my whole database venture. But really what that moment was is that he made us look at, like, what do we have? What is our value? Our value as a service industry is communication. It's information, right? Our value is not a free phone if you sign up for a 2-year contract. Our value is a service. It's not a product. So then I had to really dive into, well, if our value is information and we deliver it through communication, then in my mind, through communication is where we start establishing relationships. And relationships actually come from meeting strangers. We take somebody from stranger to acquaintance to advocate by first being in communication and offering something of value. Then we become trusted and they start to pay a little bit more attention. And then over time, we become even more trusted, and now they're an advocate for us. So that was just something I learned from Tony Robbins and Chet Holmes years and years ago. And that was it. That changed everything for me, the whole business path that I was on.
Yeah. Very, very cool. And Ricky, tell me a little bit about the results in terms of, like, how does that show up in your business? Can you nail it down to the fact that do you have like a really high percentage of repeat and referral business that forms the bulk of your transactions? Like, how does that approach show up in the numbers?
Well, I look at every prospect that I actually connect with long term as 10 to 20 transactions in my career. So through repeat business, referrals, and referrals of referrals, okay, that's 10 to 20 deals over your career. So if you connect long term, each prospect you connect long term with, even if they do a deal that day, that month, that year, in 5 years, it doesn't matter. Your job is to connect with them right then and leave a lasting impression forever. And then you have to have systems in place to stay relevant, stay in front of them, of course, so that they know who you are forever. But it's that personal voice to voice, which is something I don't think technology, we were talking before, I don't think that they can really replace the voice to voice. That's where the real connection is made. But each person is worth 10 to 20 deals to you. So, I was thinking about the other day, kind of my theory on the 10 to 20 deals each prospect. Well, when they refer somebody to you, okay, and you connect with them long term, now they're worth 10 to 20 deals, right? So really, when you start thinking about it, each prospect could be worth 100 deals to you over your career through all the referrals and the referrals of referrals. It's like a pyramid that comes down, and so you never know which one is going to be, which ones are going to be the ones that actually produce that many deals, but you have to treat them all the same. And so the results really, just speak for themselves, because, you don't do 100 deals your first year in real estate, right? Or your second year in real estate. I'm a single agent, by the way. I don't know what teams do. Okay. But you're not going to do 100 deals. It's something that has to snowball into the 100 deals, right? And the snowball is your sphere. And the sphere, to me, represents not just people but all of your past clients, all of your referrals, everybody is your sphere. And the larger you can get this sphere, people who know you, like you, trust you, and you're staying relevant with, that's how you get to 100 deals. People want to say, I'm going to call expires and for sale by owners, and I'm going to make this many calls. And this is how many calls you got to make to get a deal. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to calculate this, and boom, I'm going to do 100 deals. It doesn't happen like that. It happens. The only way to get there is through relationships.
So what are some of the ways, like if I'm in your database and, I'm in your market and I own a property, I'm not selling right this second, but somehow you've kind of locked into me as being somebody that's in your database. Like over the next year or two, what are some of the things that I might be experiencing from you? You mentioned call. So how often do you call? And is it all phone work, or are there any direct mail, any emails, any other things? What does that system look like? Because it sounds like you've kind of got it dialed down.
I think the first thing is you have to develop that skill of being, make them feel comfortable with you, right? Making them feel comfortable is your job. You got to get that skill down, right? And then they think, okay, this is somebody different. This is not your ordinary agent. This is somebody different that I might have a connection with here. And then you want to make sure, or you want to throw it out there. I always like to find out, is there an agent that you work with? I want to just see, is there a relationship already in play here? And even if there is, it doesn't mean that's it for me and this client. I mean, people change real estate agents all the time, but I want to know where their head is on who their agent is. And if there's nobody, then the door's wide open. If there is somebody, then maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'll make a decision based on their tone, their body language, what's going on. But it's a very important question, because most agents have this incredible conversation with a prospect. And then they think, I have this person, we're going to do all this business, but they don't realize their mom is a real estate agent, or their cousin or best friend from high school. And so I think it's a really important question to ask from there. And normally this is done on the phone, a cold call to them. This is how I operate mostly. But I'll do this with a buyer lead, which I don't pay for leads. I may get a random lead somewhere, or a referral that calls me, or somebody I see somewhere that we'd start talking real estate. I want to know, is there an agent you might work with? From there, I'm going to get their email address. I've sent a weekly email every single Wednesday since 2007, 11 years. That's through, that was as soon as I got back in the business after the crash, okay? So this email has went out through me changing companies, me being on vacation, me, hurricanes, oil spills, crazy stuff going on in my life. Never missed a single Wednesday since 2007. Now, what does that email do? I create it. It's not a drip. What it does is they know it's a bulk email, but they can see how much time you put into it, and they know that, and it's really good information. It tells them what they really want to know. It tells them closed sales, pendings, under contracts, new listings, articles of the area, coming soon stuff, stuff that they really want to know, not how to cook shrimp etouffee, or what color to paint your wall in the fall because, buyers are liking, or this is what's in. They don't care about that drip stuff that's automatically sent out. I don't believe in that, because there's nothing behind it. There's no emotions there. But when you actually spend an hour every week and create something that's your stamp on it, and it's there every single Wednesday, they start to realize how consistent, hardworking, knowledgeable, professional, they know that you're real. When they see this come through for 5 years straight every Wednesday, and you don't know it, they were watching the email, it's been 5 years, but they knew 4.5 years ago that you were their guy when they decided to do something, and that they were going to refer every single person to you. So I like to spend a lot of time on that email, and that's where I go deeper with the relationships. I'm not really super big on calling people from time to time, because I'm so busy closing deals. If I had time to do it, like if the market crashes tomorrow, the transactions go down 60%, then I'm probably going to open up and call everybody I've ever talked to, as many people as I can, because the market's down and now we're in a different environment. I'm not, there's not 30 pending deals on my board, and I have time. But until that day comes, I'm just going to keep rolling like this, because I love it. I love the way that I've built my business, where my clients come to me when they get ready. I'm not chasing them down. I'm not asking them. I'm not pressuring them. I let them come to me. So I stay relevant with them through the email, and then they come to me when they get ready, for the most part. Do I call them from time to time? If I can, but I have over 10,000 people that get this email, okay, that I've acquired over the last 11 years. And I can't call all those people. You can't call all those people. I mean, you can't call all of them. I mean, you can never call. The thing about calling past clients over cold calls is that when you call past clients, they want to talk for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, because they know you. They want to catch up. They want to talk. When you're cold calling, yeah, you can bust through 200 or 300 calls in a 4-hour session using a dialer. But when you call past clients, you're going to be on the phone for 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes per call. Okay. It's a different situation. So I just do the best I can do. I try to show them how much I care by continuing to put that content out through the email and that way. And it wins most people over. And if it doesn't, I can't win them all. I do the best I can do. But they know that when they do want to do that deal, because they've dealt with me in the past and they come to me, they know that at that point, I'm going over the moon. I'm going over the top. I'm calling them back every single time. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm doing exactly what I told them I'm going to do. We're going to get them the best price, or we're going to get them the most money, or we're going to, I'm going to come help them move their furniture. We're going to do everything. They know that they hadn't heard from me in a while. They've been getting my email, but if they call me, they know I'm going to be right there with whatever they need. So they know that.
Yeah. So one of the things, like 10,000 emails in a database that's getting an email, that's huge. That's awesome. Sure, everybody wants to know how in the world they can duplicate that. But the question that I have, and because I think this is another thing that people who are emailing, which I think is a fantastic way to deliver, a message. How do you scale that? Like 10,000 people, you're doing 100 plus transactions. Like how does that scale? Like what is going to be your technique, even if it is a goal? I don't know if your goal is to get to 200 transactions one day, assuming it is, or assuming you want to grow. Like what's the next? How do you scale this type of relationship strategy to continue to do more and more deals?
I don't. I'm maxed out. I did 130 deals last year. I made 1.1. Okay. I'll do the same thing this year. So you can't scale it unless I grow a team, right?
Yeah.
I'm just not about that. It's just not my style. I'm just not there. So what did I do? 2 years ago, I decided to write a book and scale. See, I'm scaling me. I'm scaling myself, right? See, I have, as a single agent, I crush the teams around here by myself. Like all the teams around here, I sell more than the whole 10-person team or 20-person team or 10-person team or whatever it is, because I'm so efficient. Remember I said when I noticed the real estate class was one class, that's when I went for it. I'm really good at figuring out what's efficient, and that's why I'm able to leverage this email, where I put very little effort in. I do 1 hour a week, and I'm connecting with 10,000 people who, by the way, 25 to 30% open rate. So I got 2,500 people opening it every week. Okay. Because the content is there. Right. And so what I'm doing now, since I feel like I've climbed this mountain, and I'm at the top, because to get higher, I have to scale a team. So now I'm going to do the same thing in the real estate coaching world. I'm going to be the number one coach in the world. I'm going to do it by myself as just a single guy with, because all these coaches have 150 coaches, or they have these huge buildings with all these employees and all this stuff. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the power of social media. I'm going to use the power of how you can actually leverage things smart without having to go through all this. So I'm really good at figuring out what's efficient. I'm going to scale myself as a human being, not just a real estate agent. And, $1 million to me is a lot of money. Nobody in my family's ever done that is a lot of money. And so I'm okay there. What do I want to do? I want to make 10 million a year. How am I going to do that by myself? Well, I'm going to scale a coaching business where I'm coaching agents for absolutely free and make money through speeches and books. And that's how I'm going to be number one, because everybody wants to be. Everybody's going to come to me because it's free, and I'm telling them how I did it. See, it's really hard to listen to people who haven't done what you've done, which is really what most of the real estate coaching industry is people who've never done what the agent's actually wanting to do, but they're really good salespeople. And actually, like the number one guy, not to say any names, but he's never sold real estate. Mad props to him, because he's the number one guy in the industry teaching people to do stuff he's never done. that is amazing to me. I love that. That is the definition of hustle. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Got it. Yeah. So you're basically from agent to entrepreneur. You're agent, top producer, and now you're going to go and expand beyond just doing transactions. So instead of scaling more deals, I like what you said. I'm scaling myself. I'm not necessarily scaling that system that you've created to do your deals. You'll probably create another system in the coaching side, and but you're looking for opportunity to earn revenue and make a difference in the form of sharing information with others and inspiring them to duplicate what you've done, or maybe even be better than what you are.
You know what's
that's
so
always
crazy?
fun when you have a client.
You know what's so crazy is that I'm building this coaching business on the side, because I'm still doing real estate full time, and I'll always do it full time. So the thing, I'm not gonna. My goal isn't to replace real estate with the coaching. You know, my goal is to do them do both. Because it's what I love. It's my passion. It's in my blood. I just love helping people, making people happy. You wouldn't believe how many emails and messages I get on a daily basis of people who their lives are being changed, you know, with my books and my videos and my podcasts and my training sessions and all that stuff. Because I'm teaching people that it's not about the deal. It's about the relationship. It's about hard work and talking to enough people. The only reason why agents wouldn't be closing enough properties is because of one of two reasons. They're not talking to enough people, right? People they've never talked to, or they're going after the deal, and all the people they're talking to can smell that. They can sense that they're going after the deal, and they put a block up. They don't want to talk to the agents who they feel like is just there for them. It's a big problem with the real estate coaching industry. They're teaching agents how to figure out what the client can do for the agent. See, I'm reversing it. I want to teach agents how to figure out what they can do for the client.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yeah. Relationship first.
Good.
Awesome, man. Well, we could go for a long time on how other ways, creative ways to build relationships and build a business around relationships, which is awesome. But Ricky, tell people like where can they get more of you and kind of get your perspective on how to build a relationship-based business?
Like I said, all my coaching stuff is totally free, 100% free. It's at zerotodiamond.com. You go there, sign up. There's an online course. And then we have training sessions. It's YouTube live every other Thursday. We've been doing it. So like last Thursday, I did live calls. I did live calls for an hour or so. The 2 weeks before that, I did my listing presentation. 2 weeks before that, I think I called expireds. Next week, I think I'm doing role playing where I'll call agents and, we'll be live. There's normally probably about 400 agents watching that. Over 4,600 agents are actually in the program right now. So it's growing really fast, but zerotodiamond.com, that's where all my stuff is. So if anybody wants to get in touch with me or find my social media stuff or whatever, you can just go there and connect and shoot me an email or whatever, and I'll respond if you have any questions or whatever.
Perfect. Love it. All right.
Awesome.
So that was zerotodiamond.com. Perfect. All right. We'll make sure that we get that in the show notes for everyone. And then Greg, what's the best way to reach out and connect with you?
I keep it easy. Just go to Facebook and find me, Greg Harrelson, and hit that little Facebook Messenger, send a message there. I most likely will respond. I respond to just about all of them. I'm not perfect, but I do try to get to every one of them. So feel free to reach me there.
That's right. All right. And then for the podcast itself, make sure to you can check us out on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. You can leave a review, which would be fantastic. Let people know kind of which episode you enjoyed the most. If it's someone like Ricky, make sure to give them a public shout out in the review so that they know that you appreciate their time and their contribution, giving back. And then you can always go to the leveluppodcast.com. You can get all the links there out to the various platforms. You can watch the video version there if you prefer just to kind of set it and throw it up on the laptop and watch the video version, which is always nice to see that. So we appreciate everybody watching, listening, sharing the show. You guys are awesome. We appreciate everyone in the audience who listens and participates. Normally we're on Facebook Live. This particular one we were not able to, but we are live for the most part every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. So keep an eye out for that. We're live on the Level Up Facebook page where you can actually interact and get your questions answered and ask the guest questions and things like that. So make sure to keep an eye out for that as well. All right, Ricky, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and sharing and contribution.
Absolutely. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed the conversation.
Good deal.
Yeah.
And,
thank you for the content.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.